What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. My name is Justin Moore. If you don't know me, I am the founder of Creator Wizard, which teaches you the business of being a creator. We're doing a special interview today. Super exciting. We're going live not just on my channel, but also on another special channel on the Replayed channel. And I'm here interviewing the founder, Ali, and the producer and lead editor, Joe. And Replayed is amazing. And we're going to talk all about how to exploit the YouTube algorithm today. So I want to bring in my special guest, Joe and Ali. What's up, guys?
Hey,
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into it. Just also, if you're, let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from. I see Coco, you're in there. What's up, Coco? Thanks for tuning in. So let's just dive right into it, gents. First of all, let's talk about Replayed, right? So Replayed matches YouTubers with specialist editors who understand how to increase retention, get better click-through rates, and expand their revenue. And by the way, you guys have edited most of my recent videos. So if you've watched any of my videos in the last, let's say month or two, Replayed are the folks behind that. So let's start it off. Ali, give us some background on why you decided to start Replayed.
Yeah, so I think I gotta just take this all the way back to 2006 when me and Marco started making videos on YouTube. But forward to Christmas 2017, I was coming back from a video shoot for a client, and I've always had multiple ventures going on at the same time. Anyway, that's when Christian Del Grosso, I don't know if anyone knows him here. He's an ex-Viner. He's now an actor. He discovered me and he found all my editing stuff. And he mentioned he found it super duper hard to find people who understand YouTube. And that was sort of like a light bulb moment for me. And I was like, there's so much opportunity here. So I had my cousin and a friend from school, and we just started pumping out videos daily and editing them for different YouTubers.
Amazing. And so from your perspective, what does that mean to understand YouTube? Because if you look at for example, your website or other places where you're on your Instagram or YouTube or things like that, a lot of the testimonials and quotes and stuff that you have from the creators that you work with and stuff have said that, I've hired YouTube, video editors on Upwork or on Fiverr or wherever, and it's just not, they just don't get YouTube, right? And so it's what is it about YouTube that's so special? And what is the magic formula that you mean?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I think me and Joe could probably answer that. And I think the main thing here is we get thousands of applicants trying to apply and work at Replayed, but most of them are trying to emulate the YouTube style. But only a few of them actually engage in the YouTube community and understand the different niches. And it's a very specific understanding of this entire world. It's very different from traditional media, as Joe can probably expand on as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joe, what are your thoughts? As producer and lead editor, and you edited one of the first videos that I had worked on with your team. And by the way, we met on Twitter. Ali and I met on Twitter completely randomly. I don't even know how that happened. And it just, this relationship evolved over DMs. And Ali was like, hey, let me edit one of your videos. I'll just for free. I'll show you how good we are. And I was like, okay. Right. And Joe was, you convinced me with your amazing editing skills. So tell me, walk me through your approach when you start working with a creator for the first time. How do you handle that?
Yeah, so the way it works. Okay. All right, sure. I'll just give a quick brief, I guess.
Yeah.
So the way it works is we built an entire system and software just for creator needs. So as soon as the creator signs up, our algorithm in the background matches the creator depending on their style and their needs and requirements, and then a producer also approves them. So it's human assisted, and having a handy robot that helps match you with the perfect person who totally understands what you need.
Yeah, Joe, so walk me through the edit, the first one that you did for me. I'm going to pull up this other one because this is one of my favorite videos that you guys have edited for me. Is this brand deal pricing mistakes video. I'm going to pull this up. So yeah, walk me through your thought process, how you approach an edit.
Yeah, well, like Ali said, we get the thing about YouTube videos is we get a lot of applicants as well applying to be editors for Replayed. And I think you're like, one thing we'll probably repeat a lot is that a big thing is like finding another personality within the edit as well. Like the edit almost has to have its own life and personality to it. Because when we look through editor applications, like if we go, oh, let's get an interview with that guy that did the funny thing with that stuff, that means probably when an audience watches that video on YouTube, they're going to remember that as well. And I think when you watch like big YouTubers as well, or people that have like really engaged audiences, the edit is almost like it has its own energy to it. And I think, especially when so one of the videos I did for you is just, I think I just stuck a load of Simpson GIFs and cutaways in it as well. Just stuff like as simple as that can be, people just remember it as like, oh, I'll click on that guy again because I remember he put loads of Simpson stuff in that and that engaged me a little bit, which sounds really like a silly, simple, obvious thing to say. But I think sometimes you can tell when people are just trying to emulate it because they try and apply the same editing style to every type of content, or almost like how a TV show would try and emulate what a YouTuber, where it's like lots of jump cuts and wacky sound effects. But it depends on the content creator, and I think it's just finding the niche of that. So something like we edit for a fellow called Insider Mind who does like documentary style stuff, and it's a lot different to the content we edit for you. So, and sometimes if you were to give that to someone that isn't that familiar with the YouTube space, they might try and make that more serious long form content into like very jumpy, silly. So I think it's just genuinely, if you watch a lot of YouTube and you engage with the space a lot, I think you'll be able to tell like the niches between what you should be doing.
Interesting. Yeah. And so I guess one question that I have is like, do you guys only focus on YouTube, or do you think like kind of the skills that your team brings translate to other platforms like TikTok, like short form, I guess YouTube Shorts, like Reels, like how do you approach like just creating dynamic video in general, Ali?
So I would say a lot of the platforms share the same principles. For example, user engagement, retention, and a lot of our editors they're very passionate about social media and new media and all the new stuff coming out. So for example, when TikTok came around, everyone on the team was like, wow, this has so much potential. We got to start learning how to use this, what works on there. So everyone's totally engaged on what's going on. And I think that translates a lot in the edit as well. When the editor is also passionate about what they do, and they understand the platforms that they work on, they can tailor the experience to each platform in that sense, if that makes more sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And so like one thing I thought would be really helpful for us to talk about, and first of all, I just want to mention Coco's tuning in from Minnesota. Ashley, what's up, Ashley? Thanks for tuning in. James Ty from the replay channel says perfect bit rate. So maybe it's my video. I don't know whose bit rate you're talking about, but I'm gonna claim that W for myself. But thanks, James, for tuning in. So before we jump into the next question, let us know if you have any questions in the chat. But what I do want to talk about is, I think this is a really critical thing, which is that most creators, I think, really, I'm gonna make a number here. I'm gonna make up a number. 90% of creators, this is completely speculative, 90% of creators don't look under the hood at their YouTube analytics. I think that would be my guess. And I'm wondering if we can talk a little bit about, can you walk us through some of the most important metrics that you think creators should be looking at, like retention, like click-through rate, et cetera? So like what are your thoughts? Joe, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think an interesting thing is if you go back to like the early days of YouTube, like click rate was super important. You see, who can I think of? Like Ray William Johnson, for example, is like someone from the early days. It was very prioritized, like clickbait of like, here's a thumbnail and like an outrageous title and people click on it and it gets views, but it's not necessarily what the video title actually promised. And I think YouTube might have valued that early on because it's views and engagement. But now, like, it is all about retention, like, especially in the last few years, like value-driven content. So people that watch it because they're interested in what the people have to say. And it's not necessarily like, obviously, you want amazing click-through rate and to get lots and lots of views on your video. But especially now, like brand deals are so important to videos. Like you don't want someone to click on the video and you get a view and instantly click off, because especially if you have brand deals and it's halfway through the video, you're not going to make a ton of money with that brand again if they notice that people are dropping off halfway through the video and not engaging with what you're sort of advertising to the audience as well. So it's difficult as well because, and that's why TikTok, like new emerging social medias like TikTok, is so important, because click-through rate is quite difficult, and breaking through the algorithm on YouTube as a new small creator can be really difficult now. And I think TikTok is really great because the algorithm allows you to find like a big audience, or an audience that you wouldn't necessarily find on YouTube, and then you can direct that traffic to your YouTube channel, and that's when you get more sort of value-driven viewers that would just tune in from that are interested in what you have to say. It's like constantly changing what YouTube is prioritizing and what they'll push through the algorithm. But I think pretty much like if you're creating videos that are engaging and you generally find them interesting yourself, that I think it might sound like overly simplistic, but I think that's a good way to build an audience. And especially using other social medias. I think Snapchat as well have their own sort of alternative to TikTok now, which is big. So it's just utilizing stuff like that to then build on your sort of long form videos on YouTube.
To add on to
go ahead, Ollie, please.
Yeah, just to add on to what Joe was saying. I think since retention and value driven is kind of a priority right now, you have to think, how do you achieve that, right? It is quite difficult. And I think from the perspective of an editor, the way we can help improve the views is by stimulating the viewer's senses. So, for example, in the first 3 minutes, you have to focus on the audio and the visuals and the great storytelling. So you got to keep them hooked. And if you keep them hooked within the first couple of seconds, you're pretty much guaranteed that the viewer will continue watching throughout. And then also notice all the brand deals that you have within the video. And you also want the viewer to return, right? And the way to really do that is by having engaging content. And I think as editors, we always focus on the story and stimulating the viewer's senses. So I think that's very key.
How do you? This is gonna be kind of a strange question, but like, how do you like? So okay, let me before I ask this, I want to ask one other thing, which I think is critical here, which is that like you work with clearly a lot of like big YouTubers who have kind of like made it already, right? And I'm wondering, like, are there common themes that you have recognized between these creators that you work with? Because like you mentioned, like a lot of them have different styles. Like some of them are documentary, some of them are crazy. Some of them are blog style. Some of them, like I saw you work with like Sway and Sway LA and stuff like this.
We actually have a genre featured that says crazy, like insane creators on our website.
Yeah. So it's like, so how what is the common thread if you had to talk about that, like between the creators that like how they set apart beyond just their personality?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the important thing that we've recognized between different creators is, especially the big ones, is that they are very self-aware. They understand their audience deeply and how the audience will react to their content. So they think ahead. As they're producing the content, they're thinking, what will the audience react to this? Is this going to get any negative feedback, for example? They always think ahead. I think that's a very big thing that we've recognized between all the big creators that we work with. They also engage on different platforms. They don't just focus on one single YouTube platform. They engage with their audience on Twitter, for example, through email newsletters. I think those are the main things, really.
Are you like the creators that you work with? Do they all have teams? Like, do they have managers? Do they have personal assistants? Like, do they have all this, or like, are you oftentimes the first outside help that creators are like bringing on when they first start working with you?
I think when it comes to hiring editors, that is a very personal thing, since a lot of creators feel the editing is so sacred to their style, their brand, So we usually comment after they've established their business. So some of them may already have personal assistants or managers. And oftentimes the managers recommend us to them and be like, you should give this a go. You're going to burn out. You really need an editing team. So I think it makes a lot of sense for us to come at a later stage when they've kind of established themselves and feeling that burnout. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
from a business development perspective, who's ever handling that, maybe it's you, Ali, maybe it's someone else. You probably should be forging a bunch of like partnerships with a bunch of managers.
Oh yeah, we do.
Maybe you've already done that. I don't know.
Yeah. Quite a few talent agencies in LA. You know what? There is something very difficult that we found is the UK market and the agencies here are very gated in comparison to the US. And it's very strange. But even when we meet in person, it's very hard to break that shell and that tight knit community here in the UK. I'm sure Joe can expand on that because he's had very personal experiences in that region.
Yeah, give us the tea. give us.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put you on the spot. This is. I mean, it's evening time for you guys, so we can really get it. We can get the tea out. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, Joe, could you burn some bridges, please? I think. Yeah, no, I know a few UK YouTubers, sort of vaguely, and a lot of the time they're very cautious about other people handling their footage. One time I know, without naming any names, someone was like, I cannot in good conscience hand off my footage to someone because I just know if it ever got out there, like I would be cancelled. So which is a really crazy thing that they think we would leak footage, but it's a very odd thing, and I don't think we've tapped into quite what it is. Maybe it's just because it's a lot more, because the UK is smaller, the community is tighter, so it's people are less willing to break out of that bubble. Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. We're not quite sure what it is.
I actually have a little bit of insight into this because my wife and I, we've been creators for over 10 years, and so we only recently, I would say, maybe like 4 years ago or so, we brought on an editor for our cooking videos, like the food videos and things like that. My wife has also like a beauty channel, lifestyle and content like that. And so, we've had an editor help with that videos, but the one that we held on to the longest was our family videos, our family vlog channel, and the reason is because there's a lot of private stuff that will get inadvertently captured on the footage that we don't want on YouTube. So like our street signs or like areas around our house or like things like that we always felt uncomfortable sharing that footage with an editor because they wouldn't know like to not include that thing or whatever, so like you're driving in the car and you're vlogging or whatever, and like you can see in the back window there's like a 2-second drive by of like a street sign, but like our crazy, like some, trolls will like screenshot that and be like, oh, we know where they live, so it's like that may be part of it. I don't know. But like for us, at least, that was like a consideration. And what it actually took. And I don't know if this is just like a little inside baseball. It's like maybe not interesting to you, but like it took us just like being more conscious when we're actually filming. So it's like now that we have outsourced the vlog footage, we just like if we do a clip where it's like, oh, like we did something, we can't show that street sign or whatever. Let's like redo that segment or whatever. So and then we just delete that footage. And so we try to never send files that like the editor would have no idea not to include that, if that makes sense. So I don't know if you're having a conversation, you're trying to sell someone on that, just keep that in mind, I guess.
Well, it's funny you say that. There are a lot of YouTubers that we've worked with where a lot of the editing is spent like covering up license plates and street signs, and a lot of the time just like full on house address and numbers that we have to blur out so they don't just get doxed.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's another big factor to consider. Not ruining someone's life.
Yeah, not ruining someone's life. Yes, that's very important. Okay, so for creators who say, well, yeah, it's easy, for big YouTubers to spend a bunch of money hiring editors and things like that. What about up and coming creators? Like what tips can you give for everyone to create more like dynamic edits like yourself? It's the person using Final Cut or iMovie or we started on Windows Movie Maker. I don't even think that exists anymore. But like,
Yes.
people who are just kind of doing it themselves. Like, do you have like your top 3 tips of like how to make a more dynamic edit, Ali?
Yeah. So we already work with quite a handful of up and coming creators. And we've noticed that they enjoy having a team in the background to support their ideas. And I think the really important thing, if you can't really afford an editing team, you should experiment and take risks. How do you do that really? Well, in terms of the style, you can always look at creators who are doing really well in your niche. For example, play the first 10 seconds of their videos, break down what's happening visually, audio-wise, the narrative structure, and just see where you think you could add your own spin to their content if they're similar to you, and how can you make it better. I think that's very key.
Yeah, good tips. We got a question from Keto Twins here, Emily and Sarah. Can you talk a little bit about how pricing works? Is it per hour, per video? We would love to outsource, but not sure if it's affordable at this point. That's a good question because a lot of people, if you hire them on Upwork or something or other outsourcing places, it's like by hour. But like, talk a little bit about your pricing model and how that works.
Yeah, if you do want to learn more about pricing, you can head to replay.co/pricing. But usually it's a flat rate. We try and make sure that our contracts are transparent, creator friendly. Sometimes we do by the hour if that's more suitable to your content type. And it's really, we're really here when you need us. So whenever you need a video on demand, you just upload through our app, and one of the editors will send you a video back.
Yeah, it's very seamless. I can even talk from my experience. It's like, I upload footage. It's awesome. Like I upload footage through the app or through Dropbox or whatever, however you want to do it. I provide notes, and then we have it's like a private Discord where we can like provide feedback. I will say I've worked with a lot of video editors in my life over the last like decade or so, and you guys just get it. Honestly, like the edits that you make, the cadence. You're going to give me that discount that we talked about on the editings, right? No, but it's like, honestly, you just get it, right? Like I do not find myself needing to like provide many revisions. If anything, it's like very minor stuff, cadence wise or music or things like that. But it's just like, I've been very impressed by this. So I could like personally vouch for the fact that you're editing. Like you can even see like when you go back and just look at some of the edits you guys have made recently for me, it's just like very dynamic. It helps that I'm extremely good looking though. That just makes the video like that, like 10 times better. But no, seriously, no, really, honestly though, I can definitely vouch for you. If you want to like clip that and use it for like an ad, just let me know. I'll have to charge you for the usage rights though. Yeah, no, for real. Emily and Sarah, if you have any questions, privately DM me if you want, or just, chat with the boys. But if you do try it though, use my affiliate link, Emily and Sarah, because then I have it in the description box, and definitely check them out because I've definitely referred several other creators to them as well, and they've been happy. So great question. Okay, while we're on the topic, this is very, very critical. I did want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's stream, which is Restream, which is what we're using to do this live interview, y'all. So let me share a little bit more with you about Restream. Restream Studio is a web-based live broadcasting solution that allows you to create professional live streams and send them to multiple social channels at the same time. So I do a ton of live interviews and I use Restream to do it, and there's tons of different video layouts, which is awesome. There's tons of different caption themes, so you can select the shape and the size and the color and just customize it to your brand identity. It also has live chat overlay, so as people type in their comments, you can actually have it appear automatically on the screen. It just skyrockets engagement. But probably the most important feature to me is how you can schedule events. So I schedule a lot of my live events, but you can also schedule pre-recorded videos, right? So it's truly amazing and saves so much time. And don't forget, Restream allows you to use any RTMP source. So I actually use this to go live on Instagram using my DSLR camera and my professional microphone. So it just looks and sounds so much better. Yeah, so one of the coolest things about Restream to me is that we are going live on not just my YouTube channel, my private Facebook group, Twitch, Periscope on Twitter, LinkedIn, but I'm also going live. This is a new feature for Restream. this is really cool. We're going live on Replayed's YouTube channel right now as well. So that's a really cool thing that you can do. Is it's super easy, right? Ali, you can vouch for it.
It was fantastic.
I
It was
just sent
one click.
Yeah, it was one
It was
click.
so simple,
I sent you the
honestly.
link, and it just adds your channel to allow you to like stream in multiple places. And it can be like I don't even know how many channels it can be, but you can restream. Like if you want to do a party with like a bunch of your friends on YouTube, you can stream to everyone's channels. It'll help grow engagement for everyone, right? You get exposure to everyone's audiences. So it's a super cool feature. It's called Pairs, and yeah, big fan of Restream. I've been using it, I think since January. So every stream I do every week is on Restream. And yeah, I'm just so thankful for them for sponsoring the stream. So if you want to learn more about Restream, just click the link below. You can try it out for free. That's the amazing thing is you can hook up your social platforms, test it out, try it out, and definitely give it a shot. And I'm so appreciative again. Thank you, Restream, for sponsoring the stream. Okay, so moving on, I want to talk a little bit about how you actually shoot the footage, because as editors, I have to imagine that oftentimes you get footage and you're like, what is this crap? I can't edit this, right? Because it's like, it's not compelling. There's like, it's hard to extract a narrative or a story out of it. Like how that whole idea of like, okay, if you're going to give me garbage footage in, you're going to get a garbage edit out, or you're going to make it like a slightly prettier garbage. But like, how do you, like, what are your tips on like actually shooting? How to actually make a like footage that is compelling, that you guys can look at this and be like, wow, okay, I can work with this. Ali, why don't you take that one? I mean, sorry, not Ali. I want to hear Joe on this one. You're the producer, lead editor. you tell me.
No, yeah, sure. No, yeah, that's a really good point. Sometimes we have people that shoot their footage and it's not the best quality, and they will ask, oh, can you reduce it so it's not incredibly overexposed? And it's like, well, no, not really, but we'll try our best. And a lot of the time it can be, I mean, disappointing for us because we can't focus enough on like the creative aspects of it. We spend a lot of our time trying to fix stuff. And Justin, actually, when I edited one of your videos for the first time, it was great because the video was good and the audio was good, and it was like a dream because I was like, oh, good, I can just focus on doing the creative stuff. I think audio, like, if you have to like, so I know if you're starting out, sometimes the equipment, even for YouTube, it can be expensive. I would say if you had to pick, prioritize audio. Because I think being able to hear someone well, that's the most important part of being able to make the video cohesive and have a good structure and sort of narrative to it. We edit for a guy that's really fun and interesting called Tinfoil Tom, and he does like joke conspiracy videos, and he shoots his footage completely covered in tinfoil, and it's hard to purposely, but it's hard to see him sometimes. But he records the audio separately, and it's because of that clean audio that I think is what makes it really those videos really fun to engage with. So if you're just starting off and you're trying to like prioritize budget, clean audio is like really important, I think, because if I'm tuning into a video for the first time and if the footage is a little blurry and not great, it's whatever. But if I'm also like struggling to make out what's being said, I'm like probably going to click off that fairly quickly. So I think that's a big thing to prioritize.
I got to imagine being covered in tinfoil. That's audio nightmare. Like maybe if it's like an ASMR channel or something, but I don't know. I like just like every time you move, it's just like crinkling everywhere. That would be crazy.
He records Foley separately for that. Yeah. He's a really interesting guy. They're really fun to edit. It's bizarre.
That's hilarious. So what are your thoughts on like ad placements in a video, because and how that affects performance, right? Like how many mid rolls, where to put them. Like, do you find that has a big impact on retention and performance and things like that?
I think if you want to make sure that the ad placement is not going to ruin the watching experience, you got to focus on making sure that are we talking about YouTube ads or is it?
Yeah. So I would say, well, that's different. I would say let's talk about like actually YouTube ads, like mid rolls and things like that too, where you're like potentially losing viewers at like a pivotal moment in the video or something like that. So do you guys provide like expertise on that to your creator? Be like, hey, like this is where we think you should put your 2 ad breaks or something.
Yeah, so when it comes to brand integrations, we usually like to go a little bit the extra mile and make sure that the styling of the actual brand integration is similar to the content that's already being produced. So, for example, if we're doing integration for Restream, we create the content in the same style that the YouTuber produces the regular stuff in. And I think in terms of placement, putting the ad right before the climax of a video, for example, right before you're revealing an answer or revealing the prank is fake or whatever, you know what I mean? Just right before the climax, putting the ad right there should keep the viewer engaged and returning to actually see the ending of the story. I think that's very important.
So wait a minute, you're telling me that there's fake pranks on YouTube?
Oh no, I didn't say anything.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on a second. What? I don't understand
You just spilled
that.
the industry secret
What
there,
are you
Ali.
talking about, Ali? Every prank on YouTube is real. Like,
Oh no.
especially if you're targeting like a 13-year-old boy, right? As your audience, your audience persona. Your entire client list is gonna it's gonna be a mutiny. Great point. So okay, let's say like an up and coming creator reaches the point of wanting to hire an editor. Okay. And for some reason they just don't want to work with Restream, or they don't want to work with Replayed. I don't know why they wouldn't, but like, let's say that, like, you know, maybe they want to look for a local editor or someone on Upwork or whatever. Like, just, what do you think? What is the type of skill set? What other than their portfolio? How can you tell if a video editor gets it?
So I think the big factor is personality. Once you find someone based on their portfolio you think has potential, you jump on a call with them, and if you vibe with the person, you think, oh, this is a person I can totally work with on a daily basis. They've got a big personality that can be reflected in the edit. I think you're onto a winner. I think that's a really big thing. We usually focus on people with big personalities.
Mm-hmm. Joe, any thoughts?
Oh yeah, I think one of like the most important things is about editing is obviously there's an exchange like a business exchange going on of it's interesting. I heard someone describe editing. It's almost like a trade skill, like building or something. It's like, I can't edit, I need an editor, or I need to free up time. You have this skill, take it. And I think a lot of the time, outside of just that exchange of money, it's also like there's this exchange of every time I edit a video, at least, I think it's something that I want to put in my portfolio to show off and be like, look, this is what I made, you know, to get, you know, to help further your career. So I think if you're an editor, the best attitude to go about it is like every video should be one that you want to put right at the top of your portfolio. And I think the more you do that as well, the more you'll probably start experimenting with cool stuff to be in there, whether it's graphics or audio. And I think if you continue with that attitude throughout like your editing career, I think instead of just like knocking a video out and handing it over and it's like, oh, that's good enough, that'll do. I think if you're constantly trying to stretch yourself, like your skill set would just grow more and more. Which again, like sounds like a really like silly, obvious answer to give, but I think it's like it does help motivate in the edit as well, where it's like if I finish it and I'm like, oh no, yeah, I'm really proud of this video, and I'm excited to send it to the creator and see what the reaction is. I think that's like a good attitude to go about it with.
Yeah.
Just to add on
yeah, go ahead, Ollie, please.
Yeah, just to add on to what Joe was saying, I think showing passion, not just for the video editing, but for the content that you're also creating, is really important. So if they're already in the community that you create content for, that's just brilliant. It's a perfect match. Just showing, you know, pride and going the extra mile. I think that's really, really important. And it's not just about making a quick buck, for example. The editor should really, really love what they're doing. I think people just look at a CV and be like, wow, yeah, this guy knows how to use After Effects, Premiere. He knows all the tools, right? But do they really care about the content itself, or are they just trying to make a quick buck?
Yeah, I want to also like take this opportunity to mention that like I actually like oppose the notion that you can only hire an editor once you've like made it as a creator or whatever. Obviously, the financial considerations aside, like let's just talk about my channel, for example, right? I've got 40,000 subscribers on this channel that you guys are helping me edit videos on, and I get on average, let's say, a couple hundred views per video, not a couple thousand views, a couple hundred views, and I'm very like honest about this. I do, yes, definitely repurpose the content, as much as I can across platforms on, Instagram and TikTok and things like that too. But the whole goal for me is I look at working with you guys as an investment, right? I think a lot of YouTubers, a lot of creators think that like, oh, I'm going to do 10 videos or I'm going to do 50 videos or whatever it is, and then I'm going to like make it. It's good. YouTube is something that takes a long time. It's a long haul play as a creator. If it's something that you want to succeed in, and it's something that you want to, and you really do have passion for it and love it. And so I think it's really important to acknowledge that I view this as an investment in my long-term business as a creator, right? So it's like, yes, maybe right now I'm getting a couple hundred views, but maybe in 6 months of putting out really consistently good content, that's going to change to a couple thousand views, right? And maybe in a couple years, that's going to turn into tens of thousands of views or whatever, right? So it's like, I am acknowledging that this is a monetary investment that I am making. A lot of creators, like they don't think about that type of thing when it comes to investments. They look at, oh, I'm going to invest in camera equipment. I'm going to invest in a new editing software. I'm going to, they'll spend tens of $1,000s going to university. They'll do these things, right, to invest in knowledge and things like that too. But like for some reason, I think like upping the quality of the content that you're creating doesn't, in terms of like how dynamic it is and bringing on people that are smarter than you. That's the thing, is I suck at editing. Like, I know I suck at editing. I edited our vlogs for years. We did daily vlogs for like 3 years. We didn't miss an upload. So it's like, I suck at editing. Like, I'll absolutely say that. But that wasn't what people came to our channel for. It wasn't this like dynamic editing and storyline and all this stuff too. So it's like, now that I am like, I'm very low ego about this, right? So I want to like say that to any creators who are listening, who are in this, in the chat, or just listening, that like, maybe it is something that you like, hey, okay, I'm going to invest in an editor for 6 months or something and see how that goes. And really like understand that this is going to be an investment, that it's going to take a while to see a return. It's not going to be the kind of thing where you can hire an editor and, you're going to all of a sudden jump to 10,000 views a video, overnight. Right. So it's like, I just wanted to mention that. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is definitely a long-term investment for sure. And your approach is very smart. And a lot of creators,
not just because I hired you, right? It's not smart just because I hired you. It's objectively smart, right?
That's a big factor of it, I
think. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Joe, I think you had something to say.
No, that's a really good point. Sometimes we turn down working with really big creators that would bring us lots of money, or starting like a dialogue with them, because and sometimes we choose to work with creators where sometimes we're actually making a bit of a loss, but we really believe in their content and we love what they're doing, and we want to help them grow. We just want to work on the videos themselves because they're really fun. I think a big part of it is, I think with YouTube, and obviously we do help people grow their channels. That's like the long-term goal, as you said. But it's not just about like hire an editor and overnight I'll be, I don't know, like PewDiePie or something. It's like, we really do value working with people where we can have like a good creative exchange with them and everyone is enjoying what they're doing. And I think as an editor as well, you don't just want to take a client because they'll, in a business sense, you do, but like, you don't want to just take a client that is extremely successful and has a lot of money, because I think a big part of it is the collaboration as well. And if you're just purely focused on numbers, I think that will start to show with like how much the audience is enjoying the video as well.
Yeah. Wanted to quickly say hi to Fourthborn Child, Mercury, Prod Sani, DN Fam in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. Ali, did you remember what you were going to say?
Yeah, just like Joe was saying, we really focus on the relationship and the long-term partnership that we have with creators. I think that brings more to the table than just churning out edits. We like to collaborate with the creator themselves, figure out ways we can make the videos more interesting, bring in new ideas. I think that's very important, and it brings a lot more value than just doing the video edit itself and nothing more.
Yeah. You know, one I was looking at like the different. Oh, hold on. We need another shout out. George Glynn wants a shout out. What's up, George? We're gonna give you a little shout out here, George. What's up?
George.
So one thought I had for you guys. You ready for some unsolicited business development advice?
Go for it.
Always.
Okay. So one service that I think you guys need, which I would greatly appreciate, and probably pay you for, is strategy. Because I think that's one of the other biggest challenges. So like you've got a big piece, you've got the data of the edit, right? So for example, this would be in an ideal world. This is what I would want to do. I would add you guys as a channel manager or like a viewer on my YouTube channel. You would go in and you would analyze the results of the edits you're making, and you would say, okay, here is this edit, here's how it performed. I look at the retention, looking at the click-through rate, looking at all of the above, and then say, okay, this is what we would recommend. It goes so far as to like help plan production, right? And be like, okay, here, do research, keyword research, channel research, competitive research of other people in the space, and say, here, based on, the niche that you're in and the content that you're making and, the data that we're looking at in terms of the video edits that we've been making for you, here's our recommendations for the next 5 videos you should make. That would be very valuable to me because I'm trying to like piece all that stuff together, and like failing at it, I would say. So what do you think?
Yeah, I'm glad you actually mentioned that, because that is a feature we've been working on. So it lets the creator link their Google account through our app, and then it translates all the data, and then from our end we can analyze it automatically. We've also been interviewing different top managers that already work with established creators that have a track record, and we want to bring those people on as well.
Cool.
And support the different creators we work on, especially the people who are still growing. We have quite a large creator base that have very small channels, and they need the help and the self-service stuff. That's something we're still working on. Like I said, hopefully soon it should be ready.
Okay, well, if you need beta clients, let me know.
All right. Sure,
well, it is. If I can just add, it is interesting because we noticed we are very in tune with that stuff. It's not been obviously a service that we've provided until sort of now, but we saw you actually tweeted, I see at the moment people are sort of tending to tune out after like 60 seconds or a minute. We saw that tweet, and we were instantly like, oh, okay. What like thinking, what can we do then? We need to like address this and fix this going forward with our edits. So definitely that's something we always have going on in the background. We watch from the shadows.
You're sleuthing.
Creators.
You're like around the corner. Like, what is he tweeting? Does he still like us? What is he tweeting? Right. No, but it's like, it's true though, right? It's the feedback loop that you need to understand, to see the data of like whether it's working or not. Because here's the other thing too, is like, I think it actually really, my strategy, I think on YouTube is perhaps a little bit different maybe than, I don't know, maybe not, but like other creators that you work with potentially, like I'm like been very transparent about this on my channel. I talked about this before, is that my goal is not to maximize YouTube. I mean, yes, it's to maximize YouTube views, but it's not like, I'm not looking to be PewDiePie. I'm not looking to get millions of views. I'm not looking to be Mr. Beast or whatever. My goal, I have a very focused audience, is creators, right? Because the way in which I like monetize my presence on social media is through other paid products, right? Like my courses and other and consulting and things like that. So it's like AdSense, YouTube AdSense is like a very trivial part of my overall revenue stream as a creator. But increasing my average views from 300 views to 3,000 views, a 10x, at top of funnel. If I have 3,000 creators watching me, that's like a very meaningful thing to me as a business, right? So it's like even like making modifications and changing the strategy from like, okay, maybe my strategy, my videos should be SEO focused. right? Versus like trying to like latch on to all the trends, right? Like what are people searching about when it comes to brand deals? Because that's my niche, right? So it's like whitelisting, usage rights, exclusivity. Like, so it's like if there was someone on your team, the strategist, who was like, hey, okay, like knowing that your strategy is SEO focused, here's the 10 videos or the whatever that we think you should make, right? So it's like, I think also that factors into it. It's like, what is the ultimate goal of the creator? Because I think also that can like dictate the content strategy too, right?
Yeah, I think the only issue with that we've kind of trying to figure out how to tackle is the actual cost of introducing that sort of service. Since managers usually charge quite a lot, and the whole integration as well. So one of our ideas was introducing a fee from the actual channel, so the earnings long term, if we can get a cut from that. What do you think small creators would be up for that sort of approach? Or
I think that you mean like some
scary?
sort like equity in the channel or something, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, in the AdSense or just the overall business?
Overall, yeah.
Potentially. I mean, I think you would probably have to illustrate your value pretty significantly to give someone that upside. Perhaps you could do some sort of like cap where you could say like, we'll receive 15% of revenue or something up until 50 grand or 30 grand, or where maybe some sort of cap where you can calculate on the back end what your upfront investment would be to introduce that service or something like that. Maybe that's interesting. That's like it's called like an income share agreement in the US. It's like becoming a lot more popularized, where it's like we don't make money until you make money type idea, and then there's like a cap to it. So something like that could be interesting. Yeah, honestly, I think also it depends on like who you're targeting as creators, because like there are, for example, aspiring creators who are like lawyers or doctors or like real estate people or something. So it's like people who aren't in like a entertainment niche, or like a who aren't targeting like 13-year-old kids, like people who are in like maybe in the finance investing niche or something like that, where it's like they have more income to invest in things like this because they have other revenue streams and things like that. So the scale of the creator, I think it's less about the size of the creator and more about the content vertical, I would say.
Yeah, it's a very case by case basis sort of thing. So it's very difficult to tackle this sort of issue.
Were you trying to get some free consulting out of me on this live stream? Is that what's happening right here? I'm happy to do it, but man, you're real sneaky here. Just kidding.
Wow. I have discovered I don't want to reveal too much.
Okay.
But I've discovered this sort of fund for small creators that is being built right now. I'm kind of in talks with them to see if we can create some sort of partnership. The way they work is they give cash in exchange for a small equity of their channel as well.
Yeah. What?
It's a different company.
I just privately chatted him something, and he said he can't tell me.
Not those people.
Not those people. That's cool though. Yeah, I mean, I think that these types of financial instruments and products and things like that we're gonna see a lot more of these. You've got the carrot card and things like that for creators, because there's creators making significant money, but it's not a traditional job, right? So you don't have pay stubs and you don't have the predictability of income that you need to invest in improving your business and things like that too. So I definitely think that sounds pretty cool. I don't know where Ali went. He disappeared. So so Joe, I'm going to come back to you because I don't know how there's
sure. There's no choice but to talk to
there's no place to talk because he had to like pick up something on the ground. Joe,
no, sorry, my mic just turned off for a second.
It's okay. It's okay. You're back. Yeah. Let me. Okay, no more solo on Joe. But yeah, no, that's super interesting, and I think that that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, man, I really do think that would be a very valuable thing, especially if you have data to back it up. Especially the thing that I think is most interesting is that you have, if you're able to anonymize the data that you have of all your clients and use that to inform your recommendations to up and coming creators. Be like, hey, based on anonymized data from these other 50 creators we're working with or whatever, you should do this, right? Because this is what we're seeing working. I think that's very valuable.
I've seen an interesting thing that some people have started doing actually, where when they do look into the data, for example, if they were looking at YouTube, if it's a good strategy as well for like a business if they want to get engagement with social media, because if you have done the time and put the research into that data, and then you post it and you're like, hey guys, look what we found, you should take a look, this is cool. That's like really interesting original content to post as well that can't be replicated easily, and it's a good niche, I think, for like socials and content as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, so like what are, like, if you were to give some advice to a creator who's not yet ready to hire an editor, and this is the person still editing their own footage, they're still just really not quite at that point yet. Well, when do you think people should outsource? Like, what is there a milestone? Is there like a, you're feeling burnt out? Obviously that's one thing, but like, you're feeling burnt out. It's like, what is, do you ever give that recommendation to like whether it would be a fit to, like, cause like you said, like, it's one of the most like cherished things. It's like the part of the creative process. It's like, how do you actually get over that hump? Like what's your advice to people generally?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it is quite a personal journey you have to take yourself. So if for example someone is fully on, they're gonna quit their job, they see so much potential, they're gonna dedicate all their time and money into this, and they need the support and the creative collaboration. I think that's a great path to take by hiring an editor to support you during this journey. What do you think, Joe?
Well, there's like, it's so like personal as well. There's so many different reasons someone might. I think just from if you're thinking of approaching an editor or somewhere like Replayed, one thing we found, we really want creators to be sure they're ready to give up somewhat of that creative control as well, because YouTube is very different to traditional media where it is just you and you get very attached to the content you're making. And if you get into a groove of doing it a certain way and you think, oh, I might get an editor now, there has to be a bit, if you're not ready for that collaboration, I think you have to make sure you're ready to do that, because sometimes we have clients that are like asking to share like a timeline with us, and at that point it becomes very messy, and I don't think it's quite the relationship you actually want between an editor. So it's like, if you're willing and you think you're ready to give up somewhat of that control as well, because it's a bit like I think as well, if you're looking, if you're at the point where you're ready to grow, because you can't be a one-man band if you're an extremely successful creator as well. There has to be a point where you're like, I need to hire people that I trust. And I think that's the important thing. If you can find someone that you have like a trusting relationship with, because also as a creator, you don't want to insult the people you're hiring either. If you're asking, oh, actually, can I open up a timeline and kind of do my own thing? Because at that point, it can feel like, well, what's my purpose here? And I think that can, aside from if you like financial reasons or if you're getting burnt out, I think that can be really, I don't want to say like damaging, but it can complicate the relationship slightly, which I think you want to avoid.
Yeah,
sure.
the one piece of advice that I often give to creators who are thinking about this is that hire 5 different editors for a trial edit. That's something that we've done in the past, and we give them all the same footage. And we basically say, hey, edit this video. Give them like no instructions, or like minimal instructions, basically, and just see what happens. Like, oftentimes I think that can be a very effective like thing to do, because, if you're obviously if you have it's an investment to like try something like that. But, I often take that approach when I'm hiring anyone, right? Where it's like, I hired some freelance like researchers and researchers are like producers, like not producers. They're screenwriters. That's what they are. So screenwriters, script writers, helping me like organize and research and things like that for my videos. And I hired like 4 or 5 of them. I gave them all the same assignment and moved forward with like the 1 or 2 that I thought they did a good job. So it's like, I think you can approach it in a similar way and just see. And the other thing too is that understand that it's going to take time for them to really get in sync. It may not happen on the first edit. Maybe it happens on the 3rd edit, right? So it's like, they're just going to like understand your style, and like they're going to hopefully incorporate the feedback that you guys were great at that. Like when you sent, I must say your first edits were actually very good. I didn't have much feedback on them, but like, and when I did give you feedback, the next edit that you sent me incorporated generally most of that feedback from the previous edit, right? So it's like that's a sign of a good editor, is like you're not making the same mistakes over and over, I would say too. And D and Fam said in the chat, I've heard that hiring multiple editors, seeing which is best suited for your content is great. Yeah, exactly, D. And listening to your audience feedback too, this is good. Helps make the decision easier too. So if like you post a video and everyone's like, wow, that really sucked. That should be feedback that you incorporate potentially, and maybe not use that editor anymore.
Regarding feedback, something we're actually working on right now is analyzing the feedback that the creator gives. So every time you comment it on our app, we take all that data, we crunch it down, and then we analyze it using AI to understand what kind of feedback is negative, what kind of feedback is positive, what kind of feedback is being repeated. And that gets put onto the guidelines sheet that all the editors use. And then from that, we can reference and stay on the same page and make sure that feedback that is being repeated doesn't get repeated anymore. And it stops right there, essentially, just to make sure everyone is on the same page.
Yeah. Joe, did you have something to add?
Oh, yeah. Just in terms of like finding out which editor is best for you, I think something that's actually kind of funny when you look at like relative to like traditional media, working in like new media, working with YouTubers, influencers, whoever it may be, it's interesting that actually the more years that go by, the more we realize, so like getting multiple people to hire a video for you and seeing who's best is a very traditional way of hiring someone from a job. And it's like, I just think it's interesting that when it's becoming more formalized. And I think when it comes to the more team building background to the videos, less the content, more the team behind it, that actually I think importing some of the ways like traditional media works can be the best way and less messy to go around it. And I think as well, when audience feedback is really good to deciding on an editor, sometimes I've seen something which I think is slightly unfair is someone will go, I've hired a new editor, guys, let me know what you think. And I think that automatically sets it up for more criticism. I think if you're going to go down that route, it's good to just upload it with no preface of, hello, this is a new editor. Just because I've seen that before, and I've seen some videos I thought were really well edited, and the editor's been hammered just because the audience were given that niche to go in, which is a very particular type of audience that would do that. But I just thought that'd be something to keep in mind.
It's a great point. And I always say, as a creator, you oftentimes have to take the comments with a grain of salt, because that is your vocal minority, right? If you're getting 50,000 views on a video and you're getting 500 comments, that's literally 1% of your audience. So you shouldn't necessarily, like, what you really should be analyzing and listening to is the silent majority, which is the people in when you look at your analytics and you look at their behavior. Where are they dropping off? What is the retention like? And if those people are sticking around, then you should listen to those people, not the people in the comments. That's just, I mean, yes, take it into account, but like, don't just like only solely go after what they're saying. So I don't know, I don't know if everyone would give that advice, but that's something that I found over the years. So yeah, this has been an awesome conversation, you guys. I really appreciate it. I know it's later over there in the UK, so it means a lot to me. You guys stuck around, and thank you for doing this. This was a lot of fun. So how can any creators who are interested learn more about Replayed?
Yeah, visit replay.co or find us on Twitter for regular updates. That's where we usually hang out. Also, if you want to chat with one of the producers, type replay.co/producer-chat, and you can book a chat with one of us. You can speak to Zach, Eugene, Joe, or one of us, or me. I can always jump on a call and help you out.
Very cool. Very cool. And if you're really interested, make sure to use my affiliate link in the description, because
of course,
that would be amazing. And yeah, again, I just wanted to thank our sponsor for today's stream, Restream. Thank you so much for sponsoring the stream. And again, if you want to learn more about Restream and be able to do these awesome like interviews, multi-streams with your friends, the pairs feature that I mentioned to you, really, really cool. And Ali mentioned, you heard that vouch that it was very easy to sync their channel
It was
to do this interview. And those of you who are watching on the replay channel, what's up? Come on, hang over, subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about brand deals in the business of being a creator. So yeah, thanks again, you guys. It was a blast. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
us.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun.
Have a good week.